Good evening and welcome to the Shills this evening and welcome to this week's midweek roundup. We have got quite a show for you this evening. Of course, we've got our usual special guest, Starsky, and I'm going to hand over to Aaron shortly. He's going to introduce him. But before we do that, just a few pointers and a few bits of admin. There's likely to be some trolls. Let me just catch my breath a second. I have to run back to my desk. So excuse me for a second. Oh, okay, let me get my breath. Okay, so yeah, we're likely to have some trolls on the chat. So what I'm just going to ask is please don't engage with them. They're likely to be Russian trolls. So what we'll do is the moderators team are on the ball. So moderators, if you can be in the Discord in the moderators room so that we can sort of communicate with who's who and what's going to happen with them. So we're going to be pretty hard on them. So if there's any trolls out there listening, don't bother. You're not going to get the time of day. Also, there probably is going to be some questions about some recent events that happened with some attacks in Russian territory. Unfortunately, Starsky is not going to really be able to offer much information as regards that. So if you can just avoid that question, we are going to get some viewers' questions. So if you want to ask a question, you can start asking anytime now. And at some point in the show, we're going to start going through those questions. And if you tag the Shills in the question, the Mipet and Aimee are going to pick up on that. They'll get them to me, and then we'll ask those. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Aaron, who's going to introduce Starsky. Aaron?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back, Starsky. We had some people worried about you because they hadn't heard from you for a few days. They left some comments, and we reassured them that you were doing well. And you've been busy documenting some events occurring in Donbass. So why don't you take us from there and catch us up on that?
Hi guys, it's a big pleasure to see you again. Yes, I've been busy a bit. I'm sorry for not making new videos like every day, but we've got some work here. Can I start with the news on the current situation in Ukraine right now?
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, there was a missile strike today in Kyiv. Unfortunately, around 8 p.m., 2 missiles hit the residential area in Kyiv, and unfortunately, one of those missiles hit civilian building, and as much as 6 civilians were wounded, and currently they are taken to the hospital. According to our information, those missiles were launched from the territory of annexed Crimea, or they were launched from the area of Black Sea near the Crimea. And also today we've had information from Irpin, and as you probably know, there's ongoing investigation of those crimes that were committed in that area. And we also have this huge website where all the victims of military crimes committed by Russian forces in Ukraine can share this information with our authorities. Currently, I think we've had maybe 20,000 reports already collected from Ukrainian civilians. And in Irpin today, the investigators have received information on 10 cases of rape, including children.
Oh, goodness sake.
So yeah, this information is being processed by our authorities, and I think that unfortunately, though we will learn about other cases. For example, yesterday the investigators, international investigators that are working in Irpin, those are from France and from Slovakia, they found another family that was murdered by Russians. Family including parents and children. There were 6 people, and they were killed. And Russians continue their main attack in the area of Donbass. Our guys, the guys from my brigade, Rapid Response Brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine, they report that 3 to 4 attacks are happening every day. So Russians keep trying to take control over city of Rubizhne and other areas like Izium. There's a very hard battle that is happening right now at this point. So those are main news for today. Today we managed to shoot down 1 airplane. I think the number of downed airplanes is close to 200, which is a lot. Russians are losing their airplanes and their skilled pilots. And one of the good news is that we have captured a lot of their pilots. Some of them participated in operations in Syria, bombing cities like Aleppo. We know what happened to Aleppo as a result of Russian operation in that area. And those are good news because they will face trial, the military trial, and I think that they will spend the rest of their days in jail.
In Ukraine, I hope.
Probably in Ukraine, maybe in Netherlands.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter much because I think that it will be a great punishment because, you know, they will spend the rest of their days without seeing their family, their friends, like completely isolated in the jail until they die.
Yeah. I mean, it's shocking to hear. I mean, you know, we've been hearing reports of rapes as well, but I mean, you start hearing about reports of rapes of children as well. I mean, it's just, you know, the more I keep hearing about Russian atrocities, it just starts to beg a belief, doesn't it? And it just makes me feel sick to my stomach, quite honestly. And I'm sure everybody else feels the same. Yeah, exactly. So thanks for that, Starsky. Appreciate it. We've also now got your latest video. So if you don't mind, we'll play that, and then perhaps we'll talk about it afterwards. And we know it's a little bit of an update from your colleagues fighting in the Donbass in a particular town. So Dick, have you got that video up ready? We can get straight into that one.
All set and ready. Here we go.
There we go. Okay.
Hi everyone, Operator Starsky here. As you probably know, Russians are developing their main attack in the area of Donbass, and I decided to put more effort into informing you guys on what's happening at this point on the front lines of Donbass. And I would like to present you a small video created by my second press officer, Max, who is currently working in the area of Rubizhne, where majority of my brigade is deployed. And I did my best to translate this video for you guys. Please send all of your best wishes and all of your best energy to Max and to my guys, because Rubizhne is currently one of the most dangerous areas in Ukraine in this war.
The situation in Rubizhne is currently hard, but it's under control of our forces, the forces of our brigade and allied units. The enemy keeps trying to move deeper into the city, but all of his attempts fail. They're losing a lot of their troops during each attack. Our artillery and infantry do their job. The enemy has no chance to reach his goal, in my opinion. The city of Rubizhne is currently destroyed by 50–60%. You can shoot movies about apocalypse here. The enemy opens fire at civilian structures, no matter if there's our forces or civilians. Those things don't matter to our enemies, they only want to inflict as much destruction as possible. I don't know, maybe they feel some kind of satisfaction from doing that. Everyone feels fear, myself included. But I also think what happens in case of our retreat. They will attack my own city. And I have this constant internal struggle. Despite being scared, you can't do anything else but keep defending your position. Keep shooting back and killing them, there's no other choice. Everybody feels fear anyways. We should stay here until the end. We should defend where we can defend, and we should attack where we can attack. As a javelin operator, I must say it's a very efficient anti-tank weapon. The enemy tanks burn really well, and they have no chance due to my weapon. At some point we received javelins. The enemy didn't know about it. I arrived to the position to our guys. They told me the previous day they've encountered a Russian tank. There were doorways, and now they're gone. This is what the tank did. The first and the second doorways are destroyed. At the position they showed me the area where the tank operated. I took the javelin, and it so happened that as soon as I locked on the tank, it began moving behind the building. That moment I launched the missile. It was really cool, such a mix of emotions. Those tanks were bringing us plenty of troubles, and then I've been told that I've hit it. All the people, even those on the other spans of the front line, who learned about destruction of the tank by our javelin, felt really motivated. The information of so-called liberation of city of Rubizhne spread by Russian media was a fake, according to Chief of Military Administration Sergei Haidai. To me, it looks like some kind of informational attack, because enemy is pretending they have captured the city in order to show at least some result of their work. They're losing a lot of men, as well as their vehicles that burn very well, and no military goal have been reached so far. That's why they don't have other choice but lie about reaching some kind of success. They have enough men to develop this attack, but I think they lack skills, and also they lack motivation. I am not sure what else. I think they don't have enough rationality, and they don't know what they're fighting for. They don't know what they're dying for, and we know for sure what we are dying for. We've had a lot of casualties, a lot of our guys have died on this war, and we would like to end it as soon as possible. We all want to win and have an opportunity to put our efforts into rebuilding our independent country. Without this so-called Russian peace and without Russian influencers. And I'm sure that we will be victorious because everyone is so motivated here. There is no other choice, otherwise Ukrainian nation will be erased from the map of Ukraine and our country will be populated by some invaders from Siberia. We should win in order to avoid this, and I'm sure we will. Just one day prior to our deployment, I got married and my wife comes from Luhansk region. Her parents and relatives live on the occupied territories and they support Ukraine. They are waiting for the day when those territories are liberated by Ukrainian forces. We are going to win. Everything will be Ukraine.
Excellent. Wow. I think it kind of gives really kind of a small, at least a small impression of the intensity of the fighting that's going on in that region in Donbass at the moment. I mean, do the troops on the Eastern Front now really kind of feeling this change in pace? Is it really happening that way? Is it different from what it was at the start, Starsky, or how is that? How are they kind of feeling about it at the moment?
It was different because at the beginning of the invasion, my guys were located near Stanitsa Luhanska, and they had to move back a bit because there was threat to become surrounded, and they successfully moved back, and they took control of Rubizhne, and they made their positions there. So currently, I wouldn't say the situation changed much since then. You probably saw that huge orange cloud on the video.
Yeah.
That's from the impact in the factory. Russians have bombed this factory, and some gas was released. And those things happen from time to time. Nothing like chemical weapons that were used in Mariupol. We are still investigating that. But yeah, it was still dangerous. It was dangerous for the environment, and of course, it was dangerous for the kids that weren't able to move out from Rubizhne for some reason, because there's still a lot of civilians there.
Yeah.
But yeah, from what they told me, they have they have to defend the city from Russian attacks that happen like 3 or 4 times a day, and Russians are using aviation and artillery strikes in order to develop those attacks, and that's very hard for my guys, but they are doing well, and they are true heroes in my eyes.
Absolutely. I mean, are they getting, particularly in where your guys in the moment, in that particular town? Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that name. Are they getting support from artillery and what have you, as well as the anti-tank weapons that they have as well? I mean, they getting that kind of support, and also air support as well. Do they have that available?
Yeah, sure. They have all kinds of support, and they are working together with the armed forces, because National Guard and armed forces are a bit different things in Ukraine, but they work together and successfully. And I think that one of the following videos will be an interview with a soldier from armed forces who works together with my guys there in Rubizhne, and I think the next video will be a video of interview with the Russian prisoner, POW, that we have captured in the area of Rubizhne. In fact, it's separatists, because as you know, there's those separatist states that were recognized by Russia, which was like so-called reason to start this war.
Right.
So this guy comes from Luhansk, and he was fighting for Russians, and he was captured by our guys in Rubizhne. And I think that the next video will be an interview with him. I will translate it for you so you could understand what he says.
Excellent. Okay, well, we'll look forward to doing that. Well, we've actually got quite a few viewer questions coming up already, Starsky. So if it's okay with you, we'll dive straight into those, if that's all right.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to actually start with a couple that were not able to actually get asked last week. So we'll start with those, if that's right. So first one is from. Sorry if I pronounce these names incorrectly. I do apologise. First one is from Akseli Kohonen from last week, and he says, "How likely is it that Russia will break through Mykolaiv? Mykolaiv and link up with Transnistria. And I think he's talking about then moving on to taking Odessa. I mean, how are they basically? I mean, how are they doing in that side of the conflict at the moment?
I'd say that they will face very, very strong resistance because currently our forces that are stationed in Mykolaiv are counter-attacking in the direction of Kherson. It's not a secret. It's just we cannot tell you exactly what they are doing there at this point. But there's a bunch of counterattacks, successful counterattacks performed by Ukrainian army, and I don't think they will take Mykolaiv because they have lost their best troops in order to take Mykolaiv at the very beginning of this invasion, and they failed a lot. So I don't think that there will be any opportunity for them to unite with those forces in Transnistria. Also, Transnistria is kind of isolated because they can't reach it through sea, I guess, and of course they cannot reach it by land. And I think they can only attempt to land their airplanes in that area, but it's not very likely.
Right.
And yeah, I think that Odessa is not going to be captured anyways, because we have our best elite Marines stationed in Odessa. They are prepared to defend city from Russian Marines, from Russian Navy, and as well as Russian airborne troops. So the Ukrainian defense in area of Odessa and Mykolaiv is very, very strong.
Yeah, I mean they've had a number of nearly 3 months now to prepare, haven't they? I mean, we saw in the news quite a number of weeks ago they were literally building a trench system, and they really were reinforcing it. So that's good to hear that they're also pushing back as well. So that's excellent. So again, viewers, if you've got any questions from the chat, please link the Shills, tag the Shills, and hopefully we'll get your question asked. Apologies if we can't get through all of them. We will do our best. We're trying to get as much time dedicated to you, the viewers, as much as possible, so you get opportunity to ask some questions. So I'll go straight into the next question, and it was from Sandra, and I think it might be another one from last week. It says, "Hi, I'm from Germany. I would like to hear what Starsky and the Ukrainian people and the officials think about the German Leopard," I think she means, tanks, to come. Do they help? Do you think they will come? And is it too late?
It's not too late. Actually, from the statistics that we have received like 2 days ago, Ukraine has more tanks now than Russia. But
Right.
yeah, but I think that any help will be timely, and any help will be very, very appreciated here, including German Leopard tanks. And from what I know, those tanks are great. I think that it won't take a lot of time for our soldiers to master those tanks. And yeah, I think that if those tanks are received here in Ukraine, they will be very appreciated, and they will be big help to our army, of course.
Well, let's hope they get to where they're needed sooner than later. So the next question is from Mary Kelly. Starsky, can the Ukrainian army not blow those surrounding the steel plant to another planet? I think that's more of a statement than a question. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a good opportunity to let us know what's happening with around Mariupol, and you know, we've been hearing a lot of stories. There's still some people holding out, I believe. Is that correct? What's happening there?
Yes, of course you are correct. I think the situation didn't change much
No.
since beginning of this invasion, because you know, Russians claim like every day that they are going to capture Mariupol and gain control over the whole city in like couple hours, and they keep repeating that for like 2 months. So yeah, the situation is hard, but it's still under control of Ukrainian army.
Excellent. Okay. Right. Okay. Next one is from Karate Doctor. I like the name. Don't know if anyone has asked, but what are the chances that places like Georgia, Chechnya, and China will take advantage of how much Ukraine has weakened Russia and take disputed lands? What do you think? That's more of a general kind of global question there. What do you think of that? Do you think they might take advantage of that when Russia's so weak?
In my opinion, it would be great.
Yeah.
Of course. I think it would be great. And as for Chechens, a lot of them, those Chechens who had to flee from their motherland to Europe in the 90s, a lot of them are fighting here in Ukraine against Russian invaders. They have their own battalion, and they are true warriors. Unlike Kadyrovians, they are true warriors, and I think that we must help them in the future after our victory. We must help and assist them to return their homeland back, you know, from Russians. So yeah, that would be very great if those countries used this opportunity. I'm not sure if it happens like for real, but yeah, that's a very good idea.
Yeah, it would be a nice idea, wouldn't it? Okay. Next question we've got is Jared Brinton, beg your pardon. Does Ukraine need first responders, firefighters, and paramedics? I'm guessing he means, do we need any more volunteers for that kind of thing at this moment in time? Do you need more?
Yes, of course. All the volunteers are highly appreciated here, especially those who are experienced in combat medicine. And of course firefighters and rescuers, because we have such cities as Kharkiv that is under constant fire from their artillery and aviation, and yeah, I think we need a lot of volunteers to assist our services.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there was also a second question from the same one, and you've already touched on what's happening in Mariupol. But the question is there still hope for the soldiers and civilians in the steel plant? I mean, of course, there's still hope, obviously, for the soldiers. We know they're fighting still at the moment, but there's been a lot of question about getting civilians, keeping the corridors open for them to escape. Is that still a possibility? There are discussions about Russia letting those get out, or what's the situation, particularly with the civilians in Mariupol?
Well, I've heard the information that United Nations will help us in, providing those green corridors
Right.
for civilians. And also, I have information from one of my friends that his brother, I think he was wounded. He managed to escape from Mariupol and come back to Kiev successfully. So I think that there are possibilities, to get to Mariupol and from Mariupol. So yeah, I think there's a chance, of course. And of course, it all depends if Russians are blocking, if Russians will try to block those green corridors as they usually do, or not.
Excellent. Okay. A question from HBoy007. He says, how long do you think demining effort would continue after the war, and how can people help? I do remember seeing a report was saying that I think it was a team that were actually doing this demining, and they were saying that for every month of fighting Ukraine, there's probably going to be a year or so of clearing these mines. Do you think that's the case, or how long do you think you're going to go on for? And do you need any help with donations or equipment, etc.?
I think that it will take maybe a couple of years. For example, areas around Kiev like Irpin, Bucha, and Hostomel that were occupied for some time by Russians. The refugees are still not recommended to return to their homes because a lot of their apartments were looted by Russians, and they left a lot of booby traps in those apartments. And literally every apartment must be checked for mines and booby traps. And I think we have liberated those areas like 2 weeks ago, but this process of removing mines is still ongoing in those cities. So yeah, I think it will take quite a while, maybe a couple of years, maybe 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, obviously depending on how long this conflict goes on for. I mean, the Russians are getting pretty much beaten at the moment, I guess. But I suppose it depends on quite a few factors. Got a really good question here from, and it's a question.
Hey, I'm gonna break in just really quick, Matt. We got a super chat from DonnyBoy73, 10 Canadian dollars. Says greetings from Canada.
Excellent. And hello, Canada.
Also one from Rich Kinney for 19.99 American. There's no message with it, but if you want to post one in the chat, we will definitely keep an eye out for it and try to escalate it. All right, back to you, Matt.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for the super chats. Appreciate it. Excellent question from Evil70, and it was a question I was going to ask. Are Western weapons starting to reach the Eastern Front and where they're needed? Are they getting there? The heavy weapons that you've been calling for some time.
All I can say is that they are on the way. So they are expected. Some of them are already there, but it's in the process. I cannot tell you more, unfortunately.
Okay, that's fine. No problem at all. Question from Ted Hansen. Can you explain the colored tape on the arms? We see blue and yellow, red and white and green. Can you give us a rundown of what they actually mean?
My advice is not to pay much attention to those color bands. they don't matter much. Here in Ukraine, it's just like a marker. It changes color over time, stuff like that. It's nothing important.
Nothing important. I guess it's kind of like, for units and things like that, just to recognize each other. Because I mean, like your uniforms are kind of got a lot of similarities, it seems to me, between Ukraine and Russians, I guess. So I guess you need something to at least initially identify somebody, at least, I guess. Would that be right? Or
the fun fact is that Ukrainian soldiers have all kinds of uniform. Of course, most popular uniform in Ukraine is, of course, multicam And we also have like DTP, MTP, woodland, stuff like that. For example, my brigade was donated with woodland uniform from the California National Guards. And we are using all kinds of camouflage on the battlefield.
Right.
We are not we don't have some kind of standard. Well, of course there's like some specific colors created for for armed forces, as well as our National Guards, as well as our Navy. They are all different, but on the battlefield, everybody is fighting in wearing the uniform that fits him and makes him feel most convenient. So we have all kinds of uniforms. We maybe look like pirates at times, but we are using those bands to identify ourselves.
Yeah, I think you've got some pretty good kit, actually, because I was actually looking today your earlier videos on your channel, and your very first video, and you're talking about, I mean, I couldn't understand because obviously you're talking in your language, but it looked like you were talking about the kit, at least for your unit, and you had a young lady demonstrating it and unpacking the bag and all the rest of it as well. So yeah, it looks like you've got some pretty good kit. So yeah, pretty impressive, actually. So anyway, on with the questions. Oh, and we've got a good one from somebody called Right On and On, and he says, oh, he's a fellow YouTuber. Is it acceptable that I share Operator Starsky's video on Russia Mir on my channel, please? Is that possible? Can you do that?
I think if he can do that, then yeah, of course, why not?
Cool. There you go. You got your answer straight away there. Excellent. Okay, so we'll move on. We've got a question from One-Eyed Man. Are Russian-backed separatists in the Donbass turning on Putin? In other words, are they changing sides, I guess he means?
I know such cases. For example, in my brigade, there are 2 guys from Crimea and a couple of guys from Donetsk that kind of supported that from the beginning, but later they realized the origin of this hybrid war, so they are fighting for us currently. But I don't think that this is a like widespread thing in Donbass. Also, thing is that there's not a lot of men left in Donbass since 2014. They've lost quite a lot of men that are able to fight. So yeah, I don't think that it's likely, but we will see.
Yeah. Okay. I think we've got a super chat, haven't we? Yep.
From Mrs. Teacup, $20 American. Starsky, Americans love you, Ukraine. Slava Ukraini. Thank you,
Heroям Slava. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's straight on with the next question. We've got a question from R&R. Provided it doesn't reveal deployment information, does Starsky know how Prince Askold is doing? I don't know who that is.
Prince Askold is our fellow brigade. They are doing very well. They are protecting a lot of very important areas and strategic objects in Kiev. And they are doing well, and I'm proud that I have such friends among them as my cameraman that I've worked with, like in my previous videos. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Next one we've got from Heather Timms, and she asks, how do you see the war ending, and how long do you think it will last?
That's a tough question. I think that it's going to take a couple more months, judging from this invasion. So I think it will last for a couple more months. As for its ending, I think that we will all understand when this war is finished. In my opinion, this front line is going to stabilize, and we will have some more detailed negotiations happening in about maybe a couple of weeks. So that's my thoughts.
Excellent. Okay. Before going to the next question, for those that have just joined us, we're doing a Q&A session for viewers. So if you've got a question, tag at the Shills on the chat, and then our guys will pick them up, send them on to me, and then hopefully we'll get them asked. As I said, we won't necessarily be able to get through all of them, and also we are filtering them as well for the most appropriate questions. So on to the next one. We've got a question from Level 70. It says, can anything be done to more reliably intercept Russian missiles before they hit cities? Any requests to get Patriot missile systems in? Good question.
Yes, we have requested those missiles, and I think the response was that those missiles require some time to learn how to operate those systems, those Patriot missiles. As for Russian missiles, well, they are kind of easy to intercept, but Russians are launching like
crazy,
several missiles at a time. For example, in Lviv, they have launched five missiles that hit Lviv a couple of days ago. Some of them were intercepted, but the others have reached their targets. Unfortunately, one of them was a gas station, like civilian gas station, and from what I know, some missiles like Точка U can be intercepted with Stingers. The other missiles can be intercepted by our anti-air defenses like S-300 systems. Well, it's not like they are very hard to intercept, but Russians are launching a bunch of missiles at a time.
That's excellent. Thank you very much. So on to the next question. We've got a question from... Oh, sorry, you got a super chat. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we got a super sticker for $5 from Jana Bergovan, clapping hands. And then also someone had asked about where the money was going for these that goes in the Shills. During these streams, we're going to be forwarding half of it to Ukraine in one form or another.
Yeah, we're following the same charity that's being linked in the chat by Streamlabs as we go along.
There you go. Thank you very much. So, going on to the next question from Zina B. I hope I pronounced that right. Now, this is loyalty. Why are some Chechens fighting with Ukraine and some fighting with Russia? What's going on there?
Yeah, it's a long story. So during this war in Chechnya, Ramzan Kadyrov was a chief of some militarized group of Chechens, and he was fighting actually against Russians. But at some point, Putin was able to basically buy him, buy his loyalty. So he used his power to fight against those Chechens that were protecting their homeland. So in the end, they had to retreat and settle in Europe. So that's basically the situation that happened there. And after that, this Ramzan Kadyrov was given enough money and power to basically rule Chechnya. And currently, those Chechens that were taking refuge in Europe, they have hope to return to their homeland and fight back their country after this war in Ukraine is finished.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, because we've seen Chechens seem to be particularly prevalent, as we've seen on the news, or at least I've seen on YouTube with them in Mariupol claiming victory. In Mariupol, I don't know if everybody's seen that. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of a surprise to me as to why Chechens were actually fighting for Russia. But yeah,
and I must say that those Chechens that I know, those who live in Ukraine, they are amazing people. They are brave and they are highly intelligent, and I'm very proud to have such friends.
Yeah, very brave fighters as well. Absolutely. Good question from Greg. Is the arrival of HMS Audacious in the Mediterranean theater a comfort or a concern to Ukraine? What do you think about that?
I
British
think
warship.
Yeah, I think it's rather a comfort, because those ships can provide us with, random intelligence. Let's call it this way, because they are equipped with all kinds of, equipment, basically created for conducting reconnaissance. So yeah, and of course it's a big psychological, help to Ukrainians.
Absolutely. So on to the next question we've got from Unknown. What happens to the civilians that are forced to Russia? Any ideas? What's been happening to them?
They are being exchanged for their Russian POWs that were captured by Ukrainian forces. Sometimes we have agreement, to change 50, for example, 50 Russian POWs for 50 Ukrainian POWs. But then after this exchange happened, we realized that a bunch of those people that were released are actually civilians that were captured. So yeah, that's one thing. And another thing is that those people that are kept in Russia, they basically experienced what is called deportation, and according to war legislation, such things are war crime, because it's illegal.
Absolutely. I think we've got a super chat. Is that right? Anybody want to read that off before we go ahead?
I got it. Just sorting some stuff out. We've got one from Masturbator. Member for 12 months, Shill Apprentice. It's the will of YouTubicals. I see these milestones. And also one from Kim Fernandez for $20 American. Texas Strong. I so appreciate your updates. It helps cut through the BS.
Nice. Thank you very much for the super chats. Keep them coming. It's very much welcome. As I said, half of those is going to be going on to the Ukraine charities. So that's keep them coming. So we've got the next question from just a Dutch guy. And he says, what does Starsky think of Lend-Lease and the monthly meetings in Ramstein? So I suppose it's a two-part question about Lend-Lease and the meetings in Ramstein.
I think it was a very successful meeting, successful for Ukraine in first place, because Lend-Lease allows us to have a huge amount of weapons that we can use against Russian invaders. So yeah, I think it was a very important decision made by our allies, and we appreciate it.
Excellent. Okay. Is that another super chat we got come through as well, or has that already been read out?
Two new ones.
Cool.
We've
Go
got
ahead.
Avon for €10. Thank you for protecting Europe. Godspeed, the Netherlands. And then we've got Level 20 for Canadian $27.99 from a third-generation Ukraine Canadian whose grandparents came from the old Austrian-Hungarian Empire. Slava Ukraini. Love it.
Героям слава.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you so much for the super chats. Really appreciate it. Okay, so I'll straight in with the next one then from Robsky. He says, does Starsky have any experience regarding the reactive armor used by Russian and Ukrainian tanks? Does it actually provide any protection from modern weapons? Good question.
Yes, that armor actually provides protection against such weapons as RPG-7V. And on the other hand, we have a lot of weapons that contain so-called tandem, how you call it, tandem warheads. Okay,
Right.
and those tandem warheads, they're actually double warheads created in a way. So first warhead destroys this reactive armor, and another one burns through the armor. For example, such missiles are attached to the battle modules that are installed in our BTR-3 and 4 vehicles, and we use them very successfully against Russian armored targets like Russian BTRs, BMPs, and their tanks.
Excellent. Okay.
Hey, we've got a.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. We've got a super chat from R&R for $20. Ukraine forever. Love, Robin. Thank you for that, Robin.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Got a question from Danilo. He wants to ask, do you think Russia will invade Moldova next? What's happening there, do you think? 'Cause I know there's some difficulty relations between Ukraine and Moldova. Perhaps you can sort of fill in for that and see where that goes with that.
I cannot tell much about their politicians, but I know a lot of Moldovan people who support Ukrainian refugees, and they put all efforts, for our refugees to feel convenient and comfortable in Moldova. And we appreciate that. Of course, there's a big difference between politicians and common people, as usual. So as for Russia's intentions in Moldova, I think it's possible because they are trying to destabilize the situation currently. Yeah, I hope that they will fail, of course, because again, Ukraine is supported by like almost whole world, and I think that Moldova will also take a correct decision regarding Ukraine.
Excellent. Okie. Thank you very much. And also Robert Bellos. I hope I pronounced that right. How about the Syrians? Are they there? I think he probably means are there any Syrians that are fighting the Russians at all in Ukraine? You know of?
I don't know actually about Syrians fighting for Russians or for Ukrainians, but I know that they were contacting us during those very first days of the invasion, and they told us a lot of very important information, and I think that we actually had to listen to them like more like better, because they told us things like they told us that we should always keep the locations of our shelters for civilians in secret.
Yeah.
And never inform their location like publicly or on online maps that we've had a lot actually, because Russians will target those shelters specifically, like in Mariupol, for example. You know that they dropped a bomb at the theater, and in front and behind of that theater there were huge letters saying children. You know,
Wow.
to inform any potential pilots that children are hiding in this shelter, and they specifically bombed this shelter knowing that there are children. So Syrians told us a lot of such things, and I think that we had to pay more attention to their advices, because yeah, they were right. Actually, Russians are doing that for real. So yeah, they brought us a lot of information about that.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, very insightful. Thank you very much. And we've got a question from Marco Endler. He says, we live in Germany. We have taken in refugees, and they told us that many Ukrainians have a very critical view of Germans. Both of the wives were even a little afraid of coming to Germany. What is with that? Any ideas? What's the general feeling of Ukrainians with modern Germany as it stands at the moment in Germany?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you very much for caring for our refugees. It's very important for us. And the answer is that, well, mainly it's, I think, related to politics of their previous prime minister. I'm not, I cannot say that Ukrainians, you know, have like bad feelings to Germans generally. It's more related to their politicians, like that's all. Because you know, from the very beginning, we had this concern that Germany is not going to support Ukraine because Germany uses a lot of Russian gas and stuff like that. So Russia used their, you know, their gas as how you call it, as a weapon, actually.
Yeah.
You know, as a they use their gas pipe to control like a lot of European countries, and of course, like for Germans, especially for German politicians and German governments, of course, the interests of German nation is, of course, they are, of course, more important than interest of Ukrainians that live like on the other side of Europe. Okay, that's normal because, you know, first of all, you gotta care about your country and about your people, so we can understand that. But you know, it's hard to understand such things when your house is destroyed by Russian bombs, and
Absolutely.
you keep asking yourself why we didn't receive you know, more support or something like that. So again, you know, there's a big difference between common people that are usually helpful and friendly and open anywhere in Europe, because majority of people are good people, okay, anywhere, like in Ukraine, in Europe, we all believe in that. And of course there's difference between them and between their governments and their politicians. I'm not, you know, very I cannot talk much about like politicians because I'm not a politician. But that's the point, that I think that a lot of people will agree with me that there's a difference between politicians and just common people.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree
Hey,
more. I've got a
I'm
super
gonna
chat.
cut in, a super chat really quickly from Nurse Sean for $19.99. Is anyone distributing diluted explosives from mines in order to train dogs? Glory to the nation and death to the enemies. Thank you for that, Nurse Sean.
I think there was a question in there somewhere, was there?
Yeah, it says, is anyone distributing diluted explosive from mines in order to train dogs? I think as in salvaging the explosives from the mines and using it to train the dogs to detect mines.
I think that we have a lot of our own explosives, to train dogs. I'm not very familiar with the process of training dogs, but we have a very, very famous dog here. His name is Patron.
Yeah.
And yeah, that very small dog, but it's very cute, and it helped, to remove like hundreds of mines. And today I saw like interview with the rescuers that are looking for those mines, and yeah, they literally admire that little dog so much. And yeah, it's very cute.
You got another super chat there, I believe. If you want to carry on with that, or you already got that one?
No, that one didn't get got yet. Mark Brockman, 1999, and it doesn't have a message, so we're just going to do a big shout out, Slava Ukraini. Awesome, thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you very much. Okay, next question we've got from Robsky. The Shills. Sorry, I don't know why I'm reading that part. Is Putin turning off the gas supplies, shooting himself in the foot? And he's saying that less money for flowing into Moscow's war fund. Poland expecting this and has built LNG on the Baltic for gas imports. So do you think that Putin is shooting himself in the foot by turning off the gas supplies, Starsky?
Yeah, definitely he does. And I think that he's very desperate. He's trying to scare European countries as much as he can. But I think that Europeans have enough guts, to not be scared of that. Of course, it's not very convenient for like common population in European countries because they will have like gas shortages and stuff. But they must understand that Russian gas is a weapon. It's not something good, and they should avoid it. And I think that countries like Canada and Scandinavian countries, they have enough, resources and enough potential to provide Europe with their gas.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one thing that confused me about that kind of decision to do that. And all being said, I mean, there's no doubt about Putin is a dictator and he's a bully, but he's not stupid, and he's pretty smart. So, yeah, it makes no sense him sort of turning off the gas. As I said, there's no funds coming into Moscow, but I don't know. He doing what he does, I guess. But so anyway, we'll get straight on to the next question. We've got
we've actually got a couple super chats really quickly.
Yep.
One from Mike Worth from 1999 American. Use where you think it will be the best. Glory to Ukraine. Thank you, Mike. We will get it to them for sure. And then also from Yvonne for 10 euros. There are rotten apples in politics, but the majority of people in Europe support Ukraine. All Germans I know do. So true.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Yvonne. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very true. I know like a lot of Germans that support Ukraine.
Same.
And I have a lot of friends in Germany saying that they all trying to find at least some information from the front lines and stuff like that, because they are very supportive, and we all appreciate that.
Absolutely. Okay, so next question then. We're coming to the end of the questions we've got for viewers. We've got from Lubo in China. Will ever Ukrainians displaced in the east be able to return to their original land? And if so, will they ever feel safe there again?
Yes, I think so. Of course, it's going to be a very hard process. For example, since 2014, a lot of kids in the area of occupied Donbass were born and they went to school, and they never ever heard a Ukrainian word in their lives. So I think that we will have such problem, of integrating people from Donbass back into Ukraine, and integrating refugees back to their homes. But I think that it could be done. Of course, it requires, assistance from different specialists, because we've never had such cases before. I think, that those people who experienced Russian informational warfare, they are not easily convinced, um, about things, that happen in real life. Let's call it this way. I think that they really need assistance from specialists, from medics, from maybe psychologists to have their brain fixed, something like that.
Yeah, I remember you saying something similar to that last week, right now. Yeah, absolutely. So got next question from Jimmy Runa. He's a new member. Welcome to the clan, Jimmy. Thank you very much. And he comes with a question, and he asks, the Russian POWs are claiming that they did not know what they were sent to Ukraine for, and they were lied to. Do you believe this? I certainly do.
We have a lot of proofs that they knew exactly what they were doing, because a lot of their documents that were captured by Ukrainian forces prove that this invasion was planned in the middle of February, and like one of the dates of possible invasion was February 19th. And they were preparing for that. But of course, they will say things like that in order to, save themselves from maybe some kind of punishment, because, a lot of Russian POWs, they were told that Ukrainian Nazi are going to sell their internal organs and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, which is, of course, very stupid, because people with alcoholism don't have very high quality organs, and they are afraid to give up, of course. On the other hand, they are afraid to die, but those who become POWs, and those who get captured by Ukrainian forces, they are usually changed, exchanged for Ukrainian POWs, because we need to bring our guys back. That's very important for all of us.
Excellent. Okay. So we got a question from Raul Conte. What will the impact of the armored vehicles that England is sending will be sent to Ukraine? Do you think they're going to, so what she's saying is, what he's saying is, beg your pardon, sorry, is do you think they'll have an impact, the armored vehicles that England is sending, or supposed to be sending?
Yes, of course, because currently we are using all vehicles we can find. It's very hard to find, for example, in neighboring countries like Poland and Hungary, and even Germany, for some extent. It's very hard to find things like drones, like night vision devices, and stuff like that, because they are all in Ukraine already. Due to our volunteers and due to supportive people who buy gear and buy equipment for Ukrainian soldiers. And of course, we are trying to get all possible vehicles, like SUVs, like cars, from neighboring countries, to deliver our soldiers to front lines, to use them for all kinds of utility purpose, because we need a lot of transport on the front lines, and of course those armored vehicles will be put to a good use, like delivering soldiers, like evacuation of wounded soldiers, and stuff like that. That's of course very important, and it will have a huge impact, I think, on Ukrainian army as well.
Excellent. We've got a super chat, have we?
Yeah, give me just a moment. The chat's acting a little bit odd.
I'll tell you what. Let's should we just get
Popular.
this question? Should we get this question in before we do that, or do you want to go ahead and do that now?
Yeah, go ahead and do that because I'm
Sure.
having trouble pulling it up.
Yeah, no problem at all. So we've got a question from a very good friend of the channel, Chief Web and Toad. This is more of a joke, actually, so listen in. What's the difference between a Russian airplane and a white stork? For those of you, the national bird of Ukraine is a white stork. And the answer is storks can fly over Ukraine. Very good. You have to remember that for your colleagues then. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. Let's have a look. So we have...
It looks like Dick said that there's no super. It's just maybe a glitch with a new subscriber, so we're good on that.
No problem at all.
Okay. Another joke. What's the difference between Russian conscript and Nemo?
And who? Sorry.
Captain Nemo.
Oh yeah, Captain Nemo. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Nobody can find him.
Like it. Nice. Okay, so we're coming to some last of the questions now. One from Chuckle70. I have donated via multiple outlets buying Etsy artwork from Ukrainian girls. I also bought 2 sleeping bags for Ukrainian soldiers through Am Street. Has Operator Starsky heard or seen these bags?
I haven't seen them personally, but I hope that they found their new owners successfully, and big thanks for supporting Ukrainian people.
Excellent. Okay. So is Charlie in today? Is he going to answer this question, or do you want me to?
No, he's not on panel. He's in the chat helping us out.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no problem. So we've got a question from Charlie. He's usually one of our panel members, but he's not in today. He says, my question, if a chance arises, how are Starsky and his guys viewing the most recent saber rattling by Putin? This is a good question. Is it alarming, or is it just more of the same old shit?
I think it's the same old shit, actually. Yeah, because we all know that they lie a lot. So we will see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So I think we've come to the end of the questions from the viewers. So really, this is just a chance for a little while there for ourselves to ask some questions. So I don't know, Aaron, you're pretty good at a lot of these things. You're pretty up to date. Have you got any questions for Starsky yourself and anybody else?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start off, and if anybody wants to raise hands and jump in, we can do that. So kind of watching, we talked about they're doing the monthly meetings, everything. It's the Western Allies' tack on this has kind of changed till they're looking at Ukraine more as kind of a gatekeeper and hoping to wear down Russian forces. And thankfully, we're starting to send in a ton of weapons, but is there, given that they've changed it from a weeks-long incursion to a months-long incursion, and they're depending on you guys to do some serious damage to the Russians so that they won't try this again, are you guys feeling any extra weight for that, or are you just persevering as normal?
I think that we are totally okay with that, because, of course, I'm not sure how to call it, because it's going to sound really, kind of tough, but killing Russian soldiers takes time. Okay, and for example, yesterday we have eliminated at least 40 invaders during the day, and the day before yesterday, I think we have eliminated 60 or 90. It takes time, because there's currently about 70 battalion tactical groups that were gathered from all around Russia and sent to Donbass. Plus there's 2 so-called armed corps located in Donbass. They consist from hybrid local and Russian soldiers. Yeah, it takes some time, so I think that we do our best to to finish this war as soon as we can, but still it's going to take some time. We're talking about maybe months. So we are okay with that, but of course the sooner we have received those weapons, the sooner this war is going to be finished.
Yeah, and thankfully we're starting to get it in there, and it seems like, because I know there were some logistical holdups. It seems like they're going to be moving east pretty soon, which is good news. And if nobody else is going to raise a hand, I'm going to be greedy. So, and this has to do with some of the stuff in the news and some comments actually on a post you recently had. Oh, we've got a super chat for $10 from Dukula03. Thank you so much for that. But here we go. Dave, you want to go ahead and jump in and ask your question?
Oh, you can finish yours. That's absolutely fine.
Okay. It's just you had the individual that you had apprehended. It was Bykovsky for the rape and the phone discussions. You caught him and brought him in. Somebody in the comments had said that the Russians probably weren't leaving those individuals alive, but I've seen an interview with a victim that was left alive. Just generally, what kind of end result are you seeing on that? Obviously, it does serious psychological damage, but are they at least leaving the individuals alive to recover, or are they, worsening what they're doing by killing afterward?
There could be different reasons. Of course, I think that investigators will have an answer to this question. I think there could be different reasons. For example, they could do that, to spread fear, between civilians, or I don't know, they simply had no guts to kill this person, or whatever. Yesterday, I think, no, it was 2 days ago, there was information about this 10 years old boy that was also raped by Russian soldiers, and he's working with investigators, and fortunately he and his mother are alive, but of course he has like huge trauma, and there were paintings made by this boy, and that they're made in dark colors, which means that he suffered some very, very bad psychological trauma. He's 10 years old. So yeah, they could have different reasons for that, but I'm sure that this dude, for example, is going to face a military trial for his crimes, and we are talking about the trial in Netherlands, in Hague. So I think that's the answer.
Good. Hopefully we can line up some more next to him and move through them, make an example of them, because what they're doing is horrific. If you want to go ahead now, Dave, I'm going to hand it over to you for a sec.
Yeah, sure. That is absolutely perfect of a segue for my question. So thanks, Starsky. We always value your time here on the Shills. We hear stories all the time about Russian troops surrendering to Ukrainian forces throughout the war. Now, on one hand, as you've just elaborated, we don't want prisoners of war to get away with such horrendous crimes. And on the other hand, they have been sold an idea that says Ukrainians are cruel. Now, maybe, and I'm just throwing an idea out here, maybe they need to be shown kindness to some extent to convince them that what they've been sold is in fact a lie. How do you get the balance right between accountability and winning hearts and minds, given the emotionally charged nature of the situation?
It's a very good question because, for example, there's a lot of videos made by Russians who make Ukrainian POWs shout things like "Glory to Russia," or something like that. We don't need that, and we are not trying to, I'd say we are not trying them to even ask them questions about their supplies or food or whatever, or how you feel being a prisoner, right? Because what we are interested in is exchanging them for our guys. And of course, we are not trying to torture them here, because we know that our guys can be tortured or killed as well for such things. So yeah, of course, that video that I'm going to publish next regarding that Russian prisoner, we had an interview with him. He's not reading from paper. He's speaking like only what he wants to speak. And yeah, of course, somebody can say that, we convinced him, to say things that are important to us. But, it doesn't matter. Whatever you ask a person, like, what can you tell us about, like, your supplies in Russian army? It doesn't matter whether he says, like, we have good supplies or we have bad supplies, because it's up to him. Nobody is going to kill a prisoner, for saying things like we have good supplies in Russia, because it's an important information, and everybody should learn this. So I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah, I mean, that's very interesting. Thank you.
Okay, we've got a few super chats to move through, and then kind of a broad question to ask really quickly. We've seen a few of them on the topic. We've got Laura Kerr for $20 US. No message with that, but thank you for the money. We'll make sure we get it where it needs to go. And then we've got William Campbell for $10 US. Says you are doing a great job, and I definitely agree with that one. Thank you, William.
Yeah.
And then we've got Edward Bennett for $1.99 US. God bless Ukraine. And
Thank you very much.
That was actually $19.99.
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah, I've got my chat updating oddly. I think we're a little bit popular here. I think Starsky's a little bit magic. Let's see. And then we've got, I may need to assist here. We've got Springvale Light for $5. A 10-year-old male man getting sexually assaulted. Question mark. I think he's asking if that was what was happening there, if it was a sexual assault case, or if it was just other psychologically scarring behavior.
I'm not sure about such cases. I know a lot of cases about sexual assaults on women and children. Unfortunately, some of them were murdered after that. I'm not sure about men. I know there was a monk in Bucha, and Russians, kind of humiliated him. They told him to take off his clothes in front of other people, and for monk, it's kind of humiliating. So that's one of the cases that I know, and yesterday that was in the media here in Ukraine. But nothing like sexual assaults on men.
Okay. And then we've got from, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this correctly, Ben Nguyen, $5, Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава.
And from level 70, 699 Canadian, I look forward to seeing the Kirsch Brigade go down one day.
Yeah.
Okay, and then one thing, and you had kind of glanced across it when you were saying what you could and couldn't talk about. We keep getting questions about Transnistria, and I know you talked about, you know, the Russians that are, what they're doing in there, and everything, but somebody had asked about, you know, Moldova, and then about any worry about a push from that direction. Can you answer anything about that, or is that something just best left untouched for multiple reasons?
It's very tough. It's very tough for Russians to get to Transnistria because that area is isolated, and I think they have. I think they don't have chance to use that area. Of course, they can use again their aviation in order to deliver their troops to Transnistrian region. But it's very unlikely because there's very thick anti-air defense again over Ukraine, and of course they cannot use the airspace of European countries for military purpose. So it's very unlikely.
Yeah, it does have the feel of saber rattling for sure. I'm going to go ahead and let's hand over to Claire. What is your question, ma'am?
Yes, thank you, operator Starsky. Thank you, Aaron. I have one from the chat that I also wanted to add. It's kind of a two-part. There's two questions. One from Rodent, no last name, who wants to know what non-military aid does Ukraine need? And then to go with that, there's one from Dylan Fabian, who wants to know, as a Canadian citizen, is there any kind of pressure that they can put on their politicians to help with Ukraine? And I think that might go for America too, or any of the other countries listening.
As for the aid, I think at least in cities like Kiev, the life returns back to normal. We have our business returning back to Kiev, and I think everything will be fine here. As for civilians in areas at the front line, I think those people highly advised, you know, to evacuate to cities like Kiev, of course. So they need some, in my opinion, they need some more rationality. So I don't know how it's possible to help them in this case. But I think they gotta think twice before staying in those areas because it's very dangerous. As for things like meds or you know, first aid or food, I don't really think that we need it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it can be, I can be wrong because I'm a military. I'm more concerned about, you know, what happens to our guys and stuff like that. I don't think that there's some kind of very, very important things that our civilians need right now. At least here in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
As for and another, can you please tell me that another question? The influence on politicians. Yeah.
Yes, throughout all our countries, you know, like I'm sure we're all interested in how we can help.
Yeah. So from what I know, there's for example in the United States, there's a way to contact senator or governor. And you know, ask or offer him something. I'm not sure whether it works this way, but at least I've heard it. And well, I cannot really advise you guys what to tell your authorities, because I don't have, it's wrong, because whatever you say is up to you, and Ukrainians don't stick their noses into the business of other nations, because we have different, different things to do. We don't like to do that. So it's up to you. I cannot advise you enough, in this case.
Yeah, I guess it's important just that we get active and we try to figure it out, because it's necessary.
Yes, the main message is support Ukraine. That's very important. Just support Ukraine however you can, and Ukrainian people will never forget that.
Okay, and the last thing I have for here is a message from you from Inder Dunkelheit. Starsky absolutely loved the interview from hell. Rubis Donbass, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that video. You guys did an absolute fantastic job on editing that, with a love heart.
Thank you very much. My second press officer, Max, did that video. He is currently in Rubizhne, together with majority of my brigade that is defending this city. And I think that he does amazing job. He's very young and talented. And yeah, I'm proud that I have such a friend and a co-worker, so to say. And yeah, those guys are amazing. I think that I wouldn't be able, to be as brave and to work as hard as they do, because what they do is absolutely amazing. They are fighting 24/7. They experience a lot of air strikes, a lot of artillery strikes every day, and of course they have this feeling of fear every day. Because they can die literally any moment, but they keep fighting because they know that they should do that. Otherwise, they will lose this city to enemy, and enemy will move deeper into our territories, and it's going to be a big danger to other forces, other units that are stationed there. So yeah, they're doing a great job, and as I said, they are true heroes in my eyes.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, we've got a few super chats to clear, and then I will hand over to Matt. First one is from Kooky Nick for 10 New Zealand dollars. How do the Ukrainian forces feel overall following the meeting of 40 nations in Germany to coordinate the support for Ukraine? Slava Ukraini, love from New Zealand.
I can't tell much about our soldiers because they are busy, demilitarizing Russians. But generally, for those who follow this information, we are happy with this idea of Lend-Lease, of course. Again, because it gives us a lot of opportunities and a lot of resources that we need. I'm talking about weapons and vehicles and stuff like that. That's very important for our victory.
Okay, and let's see here. We've got Edward Bennett for $19.99 American. Starsky, hang in there, buddy. We support you. Definitely.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And then Wellington, no message, but it is a super chat for 100 Brazilian reals. Thank you, sir. We got Mike 71 for 20 American dollars, down with Putin. I think we can all agree with that.
Yeah.
And then one from Godless Scum, member for 23 months. He's actually a member of the Shills, and fuck Putin. He censored it, and I'm not going to. Fuck that guy. And from Gary, Isle of Wight, another shill that wasn't able to join us tonight, is a member for 22 months. Much love to Ukraine. Okay, and then the last one for the moment from level 70 for $6.99 Canadian. When does Operator Starsky think Kherson might be liberated?
I think anytime soon. I'm talking about weeks. Again, I cannot tell you much about what happens exactly in that area because we are counterattacking. Again, Kherson is, liberating Kherson is hard because Crimea is supplying Russians that are stationed in Kherson with vehicles, with forces, and I think that we have to deal with Crimea as well. Again, dealing with Crimea is hard because it requires, using Navy forces. We don't have much Navy forces, unfortunately, and Russia is able to provide, cover or reinforcement for their forces in Crimea using their Navy. So it's all related. But I think that Kherson can be liberated. It's possible. It just requires some time. I think that you have heard about Chernobyevka. That's the name for the airfield in Kherson. Thing with Chernobyevka is that, as soon as this airfield was captured, Russians stationed a lot of their helicopters on that airfield, and our forces performed an artillery strike on this airfield, destroying huge amount of their helicopters and their men. So after a while, they did it again, and they brought another big number of helicopters and vehicles and men. So we performed another artillery strike. And again, we have destroyed a lot of helicopters and their men. But they did it again. And it kept repeating for like 12 times. And I think there were even more strikes, but it stopped being funny, I think, after 5th or 6th time, because it felt too much repeating, but it was funny. And I think that we also have a new song here in Ukraine called Chernobyevka. Unfortunately, it's only in Ukrainian, but it's very funny. It's about things that happen over and over and over again. So yeah, it's like another almost like urban legend in Ukraine.
Okay, let's take in, we just got a few super chats. They're statements, not questions, and then I'm going to hand it over to Matt because I know he had a question. From DonnyBoy73, $5 Canadian. Starsky can contact me anytime for small engine repair tech support.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Nice.
And then from Cats for €10. Love UKR, my late father's country. Glory to Ukraine.
Thank you very much.
And then we've got €10 from Stephen Cahill. Thank you, sir. We will get that where it needs to go. And let's go ahead and hand it over to Matt.
Well, thank you very much. Before I ask the question, I've just got to say thank you to everybody that's viewing. I think we're actually hitting record numbers here, and it's absolutely awesome. And the amount of super chats are coming in as well. Thank you so much. As I said, half of those are going to be going to Ukraine charities. So awesome, really is. You viewers make it all happen. So, and also it's very important to spread the word of what we're trying to achieve here as well.
Matt,
Yeah.
I wanted to get in. Somebody pointed out that the super chats have the YouTube 30% taken off. We're going to eat the 30%, so the proper 50% is getting sent where it should. That's why we're doing the split that way. We should make that clear to everybody.
Oh, there you go. Excellent. Thank you very much for clarifying that. Appreciate it. But yeah, this is fantastic. It really is. So it's really great. So anyway, my question, Starsky, is you mentioned actually, I think it was the very first show as well, was that the question was asked, what sort of things do you actually need apart from anti-aircraft missiles? And sadly, it's not something we can help with. I'm afraid the budget won't quite stretch to those. But you mentioned something as well was night vision goggles or night vision binoculars. Because I think you remember you saying that you weren't able to actually get that kind of equipment in Ukraine. Is that still the case? Do you need things like that? Is it something that we could possibly help you with, or what's the situation with that? Can we help you with that?
Yeah, we need a lot of those. The more, the better, of course. And we also need drones, because it's already hard to buy those in Poland, for example, as I already mentioned. And equipment like those military vests. I'm talking about
Black jackets.
Yeah. And stuff like that generally. But generally we are equipped. But yeah, in case you can help us with night vision goggles, and specifically with thermal vision devices, which are much better. That will be highly appreciated.
Yeah, it leads really on to my other thing as well. I remember somebody pointing out, I believe somewhere, about night vision goggles, and that some of them actually are not meant for military use because they have a little infrared light or a red light on the front, which enemy could actually see that light as well. I mean, is there any particular types we need to avoid, or have you heard that being the case, or what's do you know anything about that?
Yes, of course, because there's a lot of night vision goggles used for hunting, for example,
right,
for night hunting.
Yeah.
And those devices have this infrared lighter. And of course it's seen. For example, snipers with their own infrared scopes can see those flashlights, okay, those infrared flashlights.
Right.
And it's very dangerous, of course. That's why I'd say that thermal vision devices are much more appreciated, because they don't have that, and they are more effective because they let us see the enemy that is hiding in the bushes somewhere. And of course, when there's a very dark night, so there's no stars or no moon, like cloudy weather, the night vision goggles are not so effective, because they require some kind of source of light, like stars or moon. And thermal vision is much more effective in this regard.
Thank you. I think we've got quite a few super chats here. We'll maybe catch up with those.
Yeah, we've got one from Roger Miles for $19.99 American. No message, but thank you, Roger. And Stephen Cahill. Oh, my chat jumped. Stephen Cahill for €2. Could there be any chance to take out Crimea? And I know you had talked about that, and the biggest opposition was the Russian Navy.
Yeah, the biggest problem is Russian Navy. Of course, for example, they have huge problem with clean water in Crimea. They even despite the fact that they have captured Kherson, but still they cannot use that old channel that supplied Crimea with water before it was annexed, because this channel also requires whole system of dams that are built on the Dnipro River to function. So they have this problem with water. They have a big problem with supplying water to their troops in Crimea, but still they let's say they will be tough to fight there in Crimea. There's very narrow pass to Crimea by land, and of course their support of Navy is very dangerous, because those Navy can launch their missiles. They have a lot of artillery, like ship-based artillery, and yeah, I think it's going to be a very tough, operation of liberating of Crimea. I'm not really sure how possible is it currently or anytime in the future. I think that we gotta find some clever way to return Crimea back, but we will do that. Of course, as you know, the United Nations Council said that Russia must return Crimea as well as occupied Donbass to Ukraine, according to decision of United Nations Council. And as long as Russia keeps Crimea occupied, it will be a subject to sanctions. So I think it's their biggest interest to return Crimea to get rid of those sanctions.
Yeah, definitely. I think everybody's in agreement that in the end it needs to be back in the hands of Ukraine. And I'm actually going to jump ahead just a little bit on the super chats, because we've got one related to it. When did Crimea get invaded? What year was that? It's from Springvale Light for $2.
It was 2014. We're talking like 28th of February, I think. Yeah. The operation was prepared long before winter, I'd say, probably in late 2013. Because such operations require a lot of reconnaissance, a lot of preparations and stuff like that. And you remember, like in spring of 2014, Putin was convincing everybody that there's no Russian army present in Crimea. Like there are green men, so-called green men, with of course armed with Russian vehicles and tanks and weapons and stuff like that, but they had no patches, and that's exactly what they did in Donbass. So they had like 35,000 men stationed in Donbass. That was a mixed army that consisted both from local separatists, and Russian militaries, but they had no patches, so they pretended that they were just locals. So in spring of 2014, it was occupied by Russian army. Of course, like everybody knew they were Russians, because they talked, specifically. stuff like that. And of course, they were armed with modern Russian weapons like VSS and VAL and the machine gun called Pechenek, their new modernized PKM, you know. And I think only in summer, already after so-called referendum, Putin kind of confessed that, yeah, there were Russian soldiers who supported that so-called Crimean self-defense because we wanted to make sure that, you know, Russian people in Crimea are safe and secure. So, yeah, we all remember that. He was kind of swearing, we don't have Russian army in Crimea. He kept repeating that until the very day of so-called official annexation of this peninsula.
Okay, Aaron, you there?
Yeah.
We should blast through a few of these and catch up, right?
Yeah, that's what. Okay, we've got My Fuzzy Animals for $10 American. What is the situation in the eastern Donbass region, and how do you see the situation playing out in that area in the next month or two? And I don't know if My Fuzzy Animals saw the video at the beginning, but there was some discussion about the Donbass region, so that's definitely worth looking at on your channel if they didn't.
Yeah, well, the situation, as I already said, it's kind of hard because they keep advancing on Donbass, trying to capture as much land as they can. Currently, they don't have much success doing so because our army keeps its area of responsibility. They keep defending their positions, and the biggest concern is about cities like already occupied cities like Melitopol. For example, a couple of days ago they brought a statue of Lenin to Melitopol, and they kind of put it on the square. And they are preparing cities like Melitopol and cities like Kherson to make this to celebrate this 9th of May, which in Russia is so-called Day of Victory over Nazi Germans. And here in Ukraine and here in Eastern world, Eastern Europe, we call this day Победобесие. It means something like victory craziness, because what they do on the 9th of May, for example, I know that 8th of May is a Memorial Day, right? On the West.
I can never remember. I have to use a calendar.
Yeah, it is in some ways. It's the May Day bank holiday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a Memorial Day when you memorize all of your grandparents and all of those soldiers who sacrificed their lives during the war.
In some European countries it is, but so that's not the case in the UK. We have our date in November time. So, but yeah, in some European countries I believe that's the case.
Yeah. So in Russia, it's a good day to get drunk like a pig and do some crazy shit. So they literally do, some kind of crazy festivals with dances, and I don't know. You gotta just Google 9th May in Russia. It's crazy. They put costumes on their kids, costumes of soldiers, and they reenact some crazy shit from the World War II. And they are preparing occupied Ukrainians in cities like Melitopol and cities like Kherson to celebrate this crazy shit. So they're bringing those statues of Lenin. It's in the media, actually. You can check that in the Google also. So they are, decorating those cities with those so-called Georgian ribbons. Georgian ribbon, this orange and black ribbon used by Russian aggressor as another sign to recognize, their supporters of this Russian world. And they are decorating those cities with those ribbons. So yeah, that's big concern to us because they are trying to to turn those cities into something that they are not, into Russian cities mentally and culturally. So yeah, that's very dangerous and that's crazy.
No doubt. I just want to jump in here quick, everyone. Starsky, we're going to have to, if we're ever going to catch up on these super chats, we're going to have to keep your answers to like a few sentences per question because we're way behind now, right, Aaron?
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
I'm so sorry about it.
No worries.
Oh, no,
okay.
no
No
apologies.
worries.
You're doing a damn good job.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but I'm scared that we won't get them finished, and that would be a shame. So I'll let you go here, Aaron. I just wanted to jump in.
Yeah, definitely. So from Godless Scummer for £2 in Ukrainian, long live Ukraine. Definitely.
Thank you very much.
And then from Brian, €10, no message, but thank you, Brian. We will get that where it needs to be. From Stephen Cahill, and I'm not sure what this is related to because there's been a lot going on, but €2, and it says, I mean the Crimea Bridge. Oh, Crimea Bridge. Nah.
No.
Okay, we got level 70 for $13.99 Canadian. Is it true Ukrainian engineers said the Kerch Bridge to Crimea might collapse on its own because of mud volcanoes caused by natural gas?
It's possible, and during the World War II, even Germans weren't able to build a bridge between Crimea and Russia because it was dangerous, and the land is moving into opposite directions. In those, the tectonic plates are moving into opposite directions in that strait. So yeah, I think eventually it may collapse. As for destructing this bridge, it's very hard to do.
Yeah, that actually that leads into the next one from Kooky Nick, $5 New Zealand. You mean the Kerch Bridge, the one between Russia and Crimea? Yes, someone needs to drop a missile on it. That would
Amen to that.
definitely be advantageous.
Yeah, we have discussed it with some of our specialists, and we came to conclusion that it's kind of it's a hard target, so to say.
Okay, let's see. We got $5 from Joseph Grant. No message, but thank you, sir. And Springvale Light again for $2. And Moldova, what is their situation?
So Russians are trying to destabilize situation in Moldova. They, I think that they did a couple of terrorist acts. They have blew up some bombs in Moldova, and I think that Moldovan authorities say that they should stay cold-minded, and they don't have to pay too much attention to those provocations because it's dangerous, and they know that Russians are trying to destabilize this situation.
Okay, and then Garth McNeil for $5 Canadian. No message, but thank you. And rolling forward, got Chad Freeze for $10 American. I think taking back Kherson Oblast, Ukraine is very important. Is that an objective, or can you say without putting plan in danger?
I'm not sure about Kherson, actually. You mean Kherson? Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So Kherson again, it's undergoing liberation. Let's call it this way.
Okay, there is a plan. Let's see. We've got Springvale Light for $2. No, leave him to speak. We would love to, but we have a ton of demand. Joseph Grant for $5. Is there a program to pay GRU agents to defect to Ukraine? And is there a program that pays for intel to get the Russian agent in charge?
Ooh, good question.
I can say that we receive some information from Russian agents that are currently stationed in Russia. So, yeah.
Okay, and we're almost caught up here. Stephen Cashman, $20. Keep up the great job, Operator Starsky, and stand with Ukraine. For sure. And then the last one, Commander 401. Member 2 months. I'm working on Penguin video with Starsky in it, if that's okay. We do some videos around here for a little bit of fun. They're really interesting. Commander 401 does CGI, just an absolutely amazing job of it, and I think they were wondering if it's okay to include you as a character.
I don't mind.
Okay, awesome. You're usually down for a good time. Okay, I think are we caught up on super chats?
We are indeed.
That was a good problem to have. That was.
Who are we and what are we doing here? Everybody just went silent on me there, but I can't host, remember?
You still there, Aaron? I think we might have lost Aaron.
Yeah, I think we lost him. His mic was going odd there, so it might be your turn there, Matt.
Yeah,
okay.
That's all right. No problem.
Actually, I'm back. I had to do a mute to kill some noise that was coming in the background. Am I okay now?
Yeah, you're okay. You're good. Yep.
Okay, yeah, it's running water. I had to kill my mixer. So, but yeah, we're caught up on the super chats, I think. And then somebody actually asked, right on and on, I wanted to ask this really quick. Can we please ask Operator Starsky if we can share his content on our YouTube channels? I think they're wanting to know if they can mirror your videos to spread the message.
Of course you can. You can use whatever you can find on my channel. I don't mind about it at all.
Okay, awesome. And Matt, over to you, sir.
Oh, sorry, I pressed the wrong buttons here. I do apologize. Yeah, you mentioned, I think it was last week or the week before, is the long-range anti-aircraft missiles that you had. And I think one of them we were talking about with the British authorities was the Rapier anti-aircraft missile system, and there's some negotiations going on about that. Have you got any updates about that, or whether that's likely to happen, or anything like that at all, Starsky?
I think it may happen, and I gotta learn more about it, and I will keep you updated in my upcoming videos about
Excellent.
it.
Thank you.
Okay, if we don't have any more panel questions, I can go ahead and try and roll back to some more of the viewer questions, or we can take and you want to start working on wrap up?
Well, Starsky, how are you for time? I know it's not exactly early your way. Do you have a few more minutes in you? You okay?
Yeah, sure. I got my coffee here, and I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Do you want me to read out a few more questions there?
Yeah, if you want to dig into it, I don't think we got the one about the Gepard anti-aircraft from Robsky, and then I think from there forward's good because I've been killing the ones we've asked.
Absolutely, yeah, no problem. I'll go straight into it. So we had a question, as I said, from Robsky there regarding the Gepard anti-aircraft systems from Germany. Will it allow Ukraine to secure the airspace above Ukraine, and are they useful systems, or are they outdated?
I think they will be helpful here, again, because we can find use for any kind of anti-air system that we receive. Yeah, I think that those will be appreciated as well.
Excellent. Okay, we've got another joke from Juliana Barnes. It says, "What's the difference between Russian medals and Ukrainian medals?" Russian medals are made of cheap imported aluminium. Ukrainian medals are made from Ukrainian steel, balls of steel.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nice one. Nice one.
I think we just had another super chat coming in there. You want to catch up with that one?
Aaron Haney?
Yeah, I'm here. It's going to take me a second because I've got 3 monitors running.
No problem. No problem. I'll go on with this other one then. We've got another question from Miriam Ward. After you disable a Russian soldier, are you able to score more weapons? We keep getting Transistra questions. Is that? Oh no, that's sorry. That's something. Yeah. So when you kill Russian soldiers, are you able to actually get more weapons? Is that the case?
Yeah, of course, because they are using the same caliber that we are using, and like they are using majority of what we are using here. And of course, we have a lot of their more modern weapons. Unfortunately, they are weapons used by their special forces like VAL and that VSS, their sniper rifle.
Yeah.
They are using specific non-supersonic bullets that we don't have. But most of their weapons is then used by our troops as well. Also their tanks, also their BMPs and captured BTRs and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the case.
Yeah, and it's good to see the Ukrainian farmers picking up those BTRs and tanks and things like that. Yeah, so keep those going, farmers, please. Thank you. It's really good.
Yeah.
Got a question from.
I'm gonna. Let me jump on a couple of super chat, super sticker. That super chat was from Springville Light for $2 American. It says, "I couldn't even be a gay man." I'm not sure what that is related to, but
What?
Well, we got a couple around here that could teach you.
oh yeah, well, we got a master at that art. Okay, and the next one is, let's see, the Saudi Real 50. Saudi Real from MCRR, and it's just a super sticker. It is a dancing Shiba dog. Thank you for that. We will get that forwarded where it needs to be. Okay, and back over to you, Matt.
Yeah, just one final one left. Actually, it's not so much a question than a statement. It's from Raging Cajun. Putin is the Karen of world leaders. Absolutely, having a hissy fit and trying to push people around. Yeah, absolutely, a Karen.
Who would be the manager?
Somebody from NATO, I guess.
His God, I guess.
Or Zelensky, obviously.
Well, I think we are actually caught up on viewer questions and super chats. So does anybody else have any questions? I know we've been sitting there kind of quiet.
Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe if we have a kind of like a fairly lengthy-ish roundup, maybe. What do you think?
I bet it will be.
Yeah,
I think that's safe to say.
We maybe have some final statements, final thoughts, and what have you. What do you think, Aimee? You want to do a round table? Want to do a slow one?
Sure, we can do that if necessary. Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to start right out. I'm going to start out with Dick Dawson tonight, surprisingly. So, Dick, what are your final thoughts?
That was a very, very informative and, educational evening all in. We've had some unbelievably cool new people join us in the live chat, and we've got lots of new members and subscribers to thank and so on. It's been a great evening. Starsky's one of the few that can really convey the message that's coming from somebody who's actually there in a way that, cuts right across all levels of social media. He's very conversive and easy to understand and really conveys his point well. So, you know, this show has just proved to be something I look forward to, and I'm already excited for next week. I can't wait. I love it.
I do too. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Mipet 69. Mipet, what are your final thoughts for tonight?
I knew you were going to do that to me. I've got a ferret. Got a ferret issue at the moment. But yeah, no, I found it fantastic. Yeah, very interesting. The chat was going wild, and that's what I really loved. The interaction between our chat and our panel. Just great questions, and thank you for all the super chats. You know, it's going to help out the Ukrainians, as well as it goes straight back into our channel to make it better, and so that we can bring you fantastic content like this every week. And we've just got another one in. Eric Heiss, I hope that I said that right, for $19.99. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. I get up really early in the morning for you guys. I hope you appreciate that.
We do, Mipet. Thank you.
And yeah, it's just been a great, great morning for me. And I want to thank you, Operator Starsky. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
thanks, Aimee. Yep.
Did we lose Aimee?
Yep.
We did miss a super chat that came in. It was Desmond Relaine. I'm not sure what czar is, but it was 14 of them. Can somebody fill me in on it? Oh, there we go. Yeah, I should have let Aimee do that. She's so much better at it. Sorry, I fucked it right up.
That's okay. And then we also had one from, 14 South African rands from Desmond Relaine. Thank you so much. That didn't have a message, but we will get that to where we are going. We also had one from Eric Heiser for $19.99 US. Thank you so much. We have one from, if my screen will stop moving, MM Martin 261 for $19.99 US. You should train dogs to track and petrol with GPS repeating collars and let the dogs find the Russians for you, and then have them drop grenades. Thank you so much. That's brilliant. Thank you. I think we are caught up on those as well. Thank you so much. So next up, I am going to go to Fallacy Dave. Dave, what are your final thoughts for tonight?
First name Fallacy, second name Dave.
There we go.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, awesome show. Really intense and very engaging. I'm going to throw the rest of my time to Starsky and ask how the normal common folk can help you guys out.
It's a good question. I think that anything you can do is helpful, whether it's, I don't know, something like sending gear or drones to Ukraine, or just writing supportive comments. It's all very helpful to us because it shows your support to Ukrainian people.
Excellent. Awesome. Yeah.
All right.
Excellent. Thank you.
You take these ones, Aimee. I don't want to ruin it.
We have Stephen Cahill for €2 who says Ireland is with Ukraine. Thank you so much. And then we have Kooky Nick for New Zealand $5 says at Mipet, Anzac spirit strong. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We're all in it together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And then I'm going to move on to Claire S. Bear. Claire, what are your thoughts, your final thoughts for tonight?
Oh, my final thoughts. Again, it's always such a great, interesting conversation and to learn about everything that's actually going on. So I thank you, Operator Starsky, for that. It's unique that we get to do that. It's a pleasure. We're really, really pleased that you can do that for us. I'm sure everyone here is grateful, and all the contributions that are going to help. It was amazing, and I'm just glad I got a couple questions in and can participate in any little way. So thank you again.
Thank you so much. And then we move on to Gary, Isle of Wight. Gary, what are your final thoughts for tonight? Oops, I think Gary is still muted, might be having some issues, so we're just going to keep moving right on. No, we didn't. Thank you very much. So we move on to DKG Custom. DKG, what are your final thoughts? And we are going to
DKG setting up the after show that I just linked in the chat, so he might not even be at his mic.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Aaron Reese. Aaron, what are your final thoughts for tonight?
Well, it has been a rush. Starsky is just completely popular, and rightly so. Just an absolutely nice guy, funny, supporting a great cause. Just been running messages back and forth and enjoying the hell out of it. I think my arms are gonna fall off after this, but definitely I'm gonna make it over to the after show. If everybody looks for the link in the chat, that'll give us a chance to kind of discuss some stuff while Starsky goes and gets some sleep. So thank you, Starsky, for being here. Keep it up. You cannot overstate the importance of what you're doing, and just the way you're doing it is absolutely perfect for the medium. Thank you, sir.
It was blocked for some reason. I thought tonight was very interesting, very informative. And we had one or two trolly comments in the chat tonight, but our mod stamped on it pretty damn quick.
Excellent.
Thank you for that, guys. I won't hold it. I'll hand it back to Aimee.
Thank you so much. And we do have Operator Starsky. First off, I do want to thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you for doing these every week with us. We so appreciate it so much. So thank you for that. And we would like to know your final thoughts for the evening, please, if you can. Thank you.
So I'm very grateful to you all guys for having me here tonight. Of course, it's a great opportunity to learn what is interesting for the public all over the world, specifically about Ukraine. Of course, it's a great chance to practice my English because it sucks, and because
no, it doesn't.
I have nobody to practice with.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's good.
Thank you. Because I don't have nobody to practice with here, and of course, it's a great opportunity to say thank you to all supporters of my country, and we all appreciate your support that you are sending to us. Again, it doesn't matter whether you're helping our refugees or sending us some help or weapons, or you're just writing us supportive comments or fighting, Russian trolls. But we all appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate it. And so I'm going to get some super chats before I head on. We've got Be Cool for $19.99 US says, really like the Javelin soldier story who just got married. What's the best personal after war plan you've heard? And then but before I let you answer, I'm going to go to Desmond Relane for 350 South African rands. Has, dear all, I have cried, yelled, used all sorts of language to this invasion by the aggressor. All I can do today is to keep quiet and just click that button to make my contribution to this cause. And we thank you ever so much for that.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate that. And we also have one from Matthew W. for $50 US says, Operator Starsky, huge thank you. Thank you so very much.
Huge thank you right back. Amazing viewers tonight. Wow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we've got some good ones. Thank you. And now I just want to thank everyone in the chat for coming. I want to thank everyone in the panel for coming as well. Thank you so much, everybody. Before I move on to the host. So there is an after show, and just stay tuned to the channel. We'll have that link in the description and also in the chat as well. I'm sure our mods will be able to post that for you as well. So thank you for that. And I'm now going to move on to M2M. Matt, what are your final thoughts for tonight?
Well, first of all, I mean, what a show. I mean, that's absolutely incredible. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Dick, but we're definitely getting record numbers for viewers. Would that be right? Oh, without a shadow of a doubt.
Beyond.
Honestly, I think I speak for everybody from the Shills, everybody in the panel. Thank you so much for those of us that have joined us, are new to us and coming to see us and to speak to Starsky and ask all the questions. Thank you very much for support. Awesome amount of super chats. Cannot thank you enough. Honestly, it's far beyond than ever we expected. And Starsky, I can honestly say, oh, dude, I'm glad I found you. I'm glad you answered that email and agreed to start coming on the shows and talking about what's going on in Ukraine. So, my friend, thank you so much for doing this with us and spending your time to do this. You know, we're trying to do our best to spread the message. Ukraine needs not only military support, but it needs moral support. And it needs support really on social media, things like what we're on at the moment, YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, whatever it might be. But I've got to say, and this seems to be with particularly my fellow countrymen, and it seems to me there seems to be a certain amount of lethargy as to what's going on, because for me it's absolutely crazy, because as far as I'm concerned, Ukraine is on a doorstep. First and foremost, I'm British, you know, without a shadow of a doubt. But secondly, Britain might have left the EU, the European Union, but we're still Europeans. And really, Ukraine is just a couple of days' drive away. It's not far at all, and you know that kind of scares me enough as it is. So really, I see Ukraine as European brothers, you know, and they need our support. But sadly, it seems to be within Britain, there seems to be a certain amount of lethargy. And I give an example. I posted a few posts when Russians pulled out from Kiev a few weeks ago. The absolutely appalling war crimes have been committed. These are civilian, innocent people being bound, tortured and executed with a bullet in the back of the head for no other reason that they are Ukrainian. There's no doubt about it. And we're getting reports of rapes and now, you know, reports of sexual assault and rapes on children. It's absolutely despicable. So I started reporting that on my own social media, and I was getting little to no interaction from everybody. But then I tested it. I then posted a silly meme and another meme about what I had for dinner. And guess what? I got lots of interactions. And this is a sad state of affairs. What people have got to understand is that this is happening here and now on our doorstep in Europe. People are being killed for no other reason than just wanting to have to live the way they want to live as a sovereign nation, to live as Ukrainians in this case. Ukraine might be invaded now, but who's going to be next? We don't know. We have no idea. So we need to support. So not only do we need to just support, as I said, militarily, but we need to support on social media as well. It's really important. There's a war going on its own within social media. So please, if you see any peer posts about it, support it, comment on it, thumbs up or whatever it might be. Please support it, and also really send a message back. And we need to keep the general support from around Europe and around the world for Ukraine, because as long as we keep that going, if there's general popular support, then more countries are going to keep sending arms that Ukraine desperately needs. So really, that's my final message, and really just to say again, thank you to absolutely all the viewers that come and joined us again tonight. Thank you very much to everybody on the panel. It's been a little bit of hard work tonight with a lot of super chats. It's been great teamwork. And honestly, it's been probably one of the best shows that I've done with the Shills tonight. So
yes.
Again, Starsky, thank you very much, brother. Thank you for coming and spending the time with us. And one final word, what else can you say? Slava Ukraini.
Slava Ukraini.
Yeah,
Героям
thank you.
слава.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Slava
Bye.
Ukraini. Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Night,
Good night,
everyone.
everyone.
everybody.
Fuck Putin.